Lost on Lost Season 2, baby!
Hell yeah!
We've watched Seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Lost, and we've learned a lot.
Did we?
And we've learned to love Jack, Kate, Sawyer, Boone, and Claire.
Did we?
But now it's time for Seasons 4, 5, and 6.
That's right, we're still going to talk about the mysteries and mythologies of the island.
And obviously hot tropical hookups.
But now we're going to talk about things like the freighter,
The Others,
Charles Widmore,
The Lighthouse,
time travel,
9/11,
Ronald Reagan,
the Catholic Church,
Titus,
Gold Chains,
the military-industrial complex,
the Prison Industrial Complex,
the Void,
the Orb,
and so much more.
So strap on and strap down, because if you thought last season was confusing,
This is going to be so much worse. Or better if you like being lost on Lost. Strap on.
you heard me.
Ooh, welcome everybody to Lost on Lost. Hey, I'm JP Russell, and I'm joined as always by a man who's definitely, absolutely, totally on the manifest, Adam Busher.
You know why? Because it's 2024, and I'm manifesting.
Oh, do you put the man in Manifest Destiny?
I hate you.
Hey, Adam, I gotta tell you, listen, I was feeling a little down. I was feeling a little just like not myself. But after this episode, I started to feel a lot better. And I realized it was because we had watched 2 episodes of Lost in chronological order. And I don't know, it just felt weird. It felt too, like, vanilla. I just didn't feel good about it. And boy, howdy, let me tell you, once we got back into skipping around, it fit like a well-oiled glove.
That's
a thing people still do, right? Put oil in their gloves.
yeah, and then wear them, and then think about how good it feels. Absolutely, and not just the bad guy from Of Mice and Men.
But yeah, now I feel right. I feel good and confused, and I'm ready to yell at Kate again.
No, this is honestly like watching Namaste after the beginning of the end is like as funny as watching Do No Harm or The Man Behind the Curtain, like 2 or 3 episodes after the pilot. Like,
Absolutely.
I knew this episode was in here somewhere, and I couldn't remember the name of it. I was just like, I know there's an episode where we kind of, and here it is. And here it is.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, we've got a guest with us today, Adam.
What a good idea.
Somebody who's hopefully just as confused as I am. Please, Lost fans, welcome to the show, Ying.
Hello.
Ying-alicious, baby.
Yes, that's me. My username for everything if you ever want to steal my identity.
Yes. Ying, tell us a little bit about your background or lack of background with the ABC television program Lost.
Lackround, if you will.
Yes.
Yes, my background, yeah.
It took us 80 episodes to get there.
As an immigrant coming to America, I never had a chance to really understand a lot of the cultural zeitgeists for a long time with regards to shows, and
Sure.
Lost was one of them. Right, Lost was around the time when I started really getting assimilated into the culture here, and hearing a lot of people in school talk about, oh, like, did you see Lost? I was like, what the fuck is Lost? And I saw commercials for it all the time, but like television watching was just never something that was in our family stuff, so I never even got to see it. Right, like the only thing I saw, I've told JP this, the only thing I've seen of Lost is one scene from like a dentist's office waiting room while I was waiting for some dental work as a kid, where like a big guy with long hair comes out of a jungle with an M16, and JP always hilariously jokes like, no, you were watching Rambo, that wasn't Lost. So I don't know what I've been watching.
I don't know. You got it, man. There's a lot of people that just walk out of the jungle with a gun in this show. So.
Yeah. I mean, and like, that's the only background I have for Lost. So
Gotcha.
Perfect.
coming in to watch this episode, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I was a little surprised that when we first saw Saeed in this episode that he didn't have a gun.
Yeah. But Ying, you have a good grasp on a lot of different type of media, though. What sort of stuff do you typically watch?
A lot of media that I end up consuming is mostly interactive media, right?
Sure.
A lot of passively consumed media, such as television, radio. I tend to be about 10 years behind the curve on.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I think my current stint as a gamer. Oh, no.
Oh,
Capital G gamer.
Yeah, gamer.
Elite gamer.
Yeah, it makes it so that, a lot of the free time I spend is not spent on media.
Sure.
And my girlfriend and I, are a lot of the media that we consume together is mostly in the form of anime and Japanese shows. So I end up reading a lot of subtitles, which made this show really hard without subtitles at first. I had to go back and rewatch it with subtitles on.
Maybe you are just a white woman after all. Ying.
How dare you? I watched the show with the subtitles on.
Yeah, thank you, Adam.
I can't fucking do it.
I think I've told this story on the show before, but like the reason I started watching subtitles was when I was in college. My sophomore year dorm roommate was Puerto Rican, and so he watched television with subtitles on all the time because English was his second language. People would speak too fast, he would miss stuff, so he would read it, and I just got used to it. And so now I don't need it to consume a show or a movie, but like it's so much more comforting and easy to watch when the captions are there. So fucking
captions? That's called a book. All right, let's get into it.
all right, let's do it. Namaste is the 9th episode of season 5 and the 95th episode of Lost overall, originally airing on March 18th, 2009. It was written by Paul Zbyszewski.
That one.
Fuck. It's a tough one to pronounce, Paul. And I'm sure you're out there. I'm sure you're listening, and I'm sorry. I've only ever seen it written down.
Paul. We'll just call him Paul.
Yeah.
And then Brian K. Vaughan, co-written with Brian K. Vaughan, and directed by Jack Bender.
Yeah.
Paul created the 2008 Taye Diggs time loop show called Daybreak for ABC, which I wanted to cover on Lost Effect, but then I started getting it confused in my head with Daylight, the movie from 1996 with Sylvester Stallone. And by the time I realized which was which, JP texted me this morning and told me to get on the call so we could talk about Namaste. Brian K. Vaughan was a co-producer of the hit web series Lost Missing Pieces.
Excuse me, Mobisodes on Verizon, whatever that means, we still don't know.
And Jack Bender's middle name is Bending.
I think we've made that joke before.
I don't care. It gets funnier every time. In a true show of community and comradeship, there is no one-centric character for this episode. Namaste covers the first day after the controlled crash and emergency landing of Hydra Flight 316.
It's pronounced Gojira, you moron.
JP, do you have a recap?
I do.
Go off, Queen.
What about second plane crash? Paul and Vaughn, did you want to do a plane crash too? That's cute. On the island, our heroes are back on the island. Can we skip season 4 now? But our survivors are split in time. In the 1970s, all of our white folks have an introduction day and a snack. Meanwhile, Saeed gets a snack. In the 2000s, some other future body bags explore the island for the first time. Sun and human brews Benry Gale Linus go on a little jungle mess around, and some Spirit Airlines pilot tries to be a named character. Hey, Captain, you may end up regretting that. Ask Christian. Hey, Jin, what that mouth do? Because I'm a namaste at your mom's house tonight. Let's get into Lost.
It has been 3 years chronologically in between the timeline that we here on Lost are most familiar with and the events of this episode, the present day events of this episode.
Can we still calculate in 815 days?
I wanted to try and figure it out, but I don't know if they give an exact date. If they give an exact date of the flight of what day Hydra is, we could.
Yeah.
So I will look into it.
All right.
But it's been 3 years in between the time frame of the show that we're most familiar with and Hydra crashing on Hydra Island.
Sure. Ben
is still covered in bruises. They're obviously new bruises, but
it's just a look, you know, man.
The man can't go more than a few days without catching an ass whipping. And maybe I think he's got to look inward, you know? Like,
but I wasn't sure. I'm like, did he get this from the plane crash or did somebody beat him up like on the pre-board?
I don't remember. Did he have a sling pre-plane crash? Did he show him? I don't remember seeing
him, but I just picture somebody shoving him in like an overhead compartment.
That'll
fit.
He was wearing the sling on the plane. Okay. I have a vague recollection of his arm getting injured prior to boarding 316. But we'll talk about it when we get to it. But yeah, the episode opens on a plane.
Yeah, again.
It's nighttime. The plane is mostly empty, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
But the camera pans around and we see some familiar faces and some unfamiliar faces. Kate, son, Jack, Saeed. Saeed's sitting next to a woman we don't necessarily know. Hurley, chilling. Ben.
There's some other guy with a mustache who we don't know.
Yep, that dude. Then we see Frank up front and Caesar.
Doing his best Snake Plissken impression.
I fucking love Jeff Fahey. I've only seen him in 2 things. Lost, and I think he was in the second half of the Grindhouse thing, Planet Terror.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the only 2 things
boy.
I've ever seen him in, and I fucking love him.
Yeah, okay.
So, Naveen Andrews was in Planet Terror.
Yeah, man, I gotta go back and rewatch that. Or not.
But yeah, Jeff Fahey, we don't know this yet, but Jeff Fahey is 100% a new named main cast member.
Well, and he seems to, like, know people on the flight, or at least he knows Sun.
Yep.
No, they're talking about the pilot, right?
Right.
Yeah, because he looks at the co-pilot and he goes, "Hey, did you see the big guy with long hair? That's one of the Lost 386." You know, and I was like, "Oh, what is this, like a reference to something?" Because I haven't seen the rest of the show, so I'm like, "Lost? Is that like is this a second plane crash? Is this the first plane crash?" Like, I thought this was a flashback to the first plane crash, but they're referring to another plane crash.
No, that's really all this show is plane crashes.
Yeah, he says the Oceanic 6, and that is our second reference to the Oceanic 6 here on Lost. They talked about, Hurley mentioned it briefly in the episode we covered last time, and now this is the second
I'm sure
time.
a whole bunch of season 4 just got spoiled for us.
Oh, shit.
And that's funny. There's a bunch of spoilers about this episode. Yeah, it renders the 25-ish episodes in between the beginning and the end and this one sort of moot.
I love it so much.
But Man Behind the Curtain.
Random.org, you son of a bitch.
Man Behind the Curtain did kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're playing at home and you want to, trying to figure out the mysteries of Lost is going to be a lot easier here on Lost than it was back in when it was originally aired, because these 2 episodes were a year and a half apart. We watched them within the span of 2 weeks here in Lost. The Oceanic 6, we can assume, are 6 people who got rescued from Oceanic Flight A15, and we knew 3 of them. Now we know 5 of them.
Yeah, well, plus Locke, right?
Like I said, we know 5 of them. Anywho, yeah, the co-pilot's like, that guy's got balls of steel. I can't believe he survived a plane crash. He's on another, and now he's just riding a plane. And Frank's like, dog, he loves plane crashes. And the co-pilot's like, what do you mean he loves plane crashes? This plane's not going to crash. And Frank's like,
well, I wanted him to be like, oh, yeah, you recognize one of the Oceanic 6. Wait till I tell you who else is on the plane.
Yeah, wait till you meet Jack Shepard and Sun Quan and Hugo Reyes and Kate Austin.
And Saeed Jarrah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Hugo Reyes is a different character then.
No, Hurley
is his
Hugo
nickname.
Reyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're flying through a storm, and it's like, yeah, Frank's like, God damn it, I know exactly what's coming. Something happens, plane shorts out, they almost crash into a mountain. Frank takes manual control.
Yeah.
Pulls so many G's trying to get out of it that it probably would have torn apart the airframe anyway.
Probably.
Yeah. Which the co-pilot does mention.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they start wrestling with it. They almost crash into a mountain. Is that a runway? Who would build a runway on an abandoned island? That's ridiculous.
They do their best version of Flight with Denzel, for TV. It's like the best version that can be done on ABC's budget.
Yeah, but in the writers' room, they're like, okay, well, here's the new big plane crash, and then the network execs are like, nah, you got to see the last one from the outside. Do this one from the inside of the plane. It'll be cheaper.
Right. Yeah.
The CGI of like the plane landing has not aged well.
Yeah, the stuff in the cockpit's at least shaky enough. I'm like, you know what? For TV, it's fine. As soon as they cut to the outside, I'm like, that is a plane.png.
Yeah.
But Frank pulls it off. He lands it.
Son of a bitch does it.
They sort of wipe out into the trees a little bit. The runway's not necessarily long enough. But yeah, the plane survives the crash. It lands on this makeshift runway.
But the co-pilot doesn't.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out, bro.
It looks like he has like an evergreen tree like through his chest. I was like, this is a tropical island.
There could be an evergreen tree. You never know. This island's mysterious. There were polar bears here one time.
That's fair.
Maybe they're related. But yeah, they like Frank's like he's got blood on his head. He sees co-pilot dead. He's like, okay, I gotta reboot. Okay, we're no longer trying to get to Guam. We're trying to now be alive on an island. I'm gonna go check on the passengers. Yeah. Switching modes. Plan B. We discover here that Frank and Son seem to know each other.
Yeah.
He's like, Son, what are you okay? And she's like, oh, Frank. And you know.
But like the rest of our friends are gone, or of the
Oceanic
5.
6. Yeah, the Oceanic
5.
Of the 5 Oceanic 6 that were on the plane, 4 of them are now missing, and 1 of them is only here anymore.
Yeah, there was a note I made during where some guy named Caesar stands up and grabs a woman who looks to an empty seat and goes, Jera?
Yeah.
Are these people that I'm supposed to know?
We feel the same way.
Okay.
I have no idea who these humans are, so that's why I just refer to them as body bags in the intro.
Caesar and Ilana we will get to know them. They are new. I think they become main cast in season 6. I think they're recurring in season 5. But yeah, Ilana was traveling with Saeed. He's missing. Caesar, I don't know if I can't remember if Caesar and Ilana know each other. Whatever. It's a whole thing.
Whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, Ben's still there, Son's still there, a couple other folks are still there. Yeah, 4 of the Oceanic 6 are missing. And then we get a little card here.
Yeah.
Lost did not often do this. They didn't give you cards giving you a frame of reference to sort of center yourself where we were in time. Like even in the flashbacks, you just
kind of had to figure it out.
Right. Like when they flash back to Saeed in like the first Gulf War, they didn't put up like a 1992 card or like, they didn't, when they were flashing back to Jack when he got married, it's like, oh, this is 1999 or 2002 or they never ever did that. I think we're supposed to know that Ajira 316 takes place sometime in 2007.
Right.
So when they say 30 years ago, 1977.
When we come back from our title card, I feel like there's a scene that we probably would have seen in a previous episode, but just like Jin picked up everybody in the bus and just is driving them. Mm-hmm. Like everyone already had a little reunion somewhere, and then they're just hanging out with Sawyer.
Wait, is he driving them?
Well, like the bus is there, the VW bus is like in the background.
Yeah, I distinctly remember like the camera panning down, and there's a bus parked somewhere that bus would not be able to drive. Like,
yeah,
it's in the middle of a bunch of rocks.
The Dharma vans are surprisingly all terrain.
Yeah.
4-wheel drive.
Yeah, you know what? I'll admit my mistake on that one.
It's all that German engineering.
But we've clearly missed some things. Because, Sawyer has arrived to this little rendezvous in a Jeep. Jin has pulled up with Jack, Kate, and Hurley in a van. Every time survivors see each other again, I have, again, no idea how long it's been since these characters have seen each other, but, like, the joy in Hugo's life when he sees his buddy Sawyer.
Right. And you can tell Sawyer's genuinely happy to see him too.
Yeah.
The little pan in on Sawyer's like face as he's smiling when he gets out of the Jeep, and it's got this Jurassic Park ass scene. Just the camera's coming through.
Yeah. But yeah, Hurley hugs him. It's so good to see you, man. It's so good to see you, Kong. I even missed that. I missed you, Hugo.
Even Kate and Sawyer have like a genuine hug with like no sex.
Yeah.
Is there a history? Is there a history of this happening? Is this?
Yeah, they boned down at least once that I remember.
Yeah, at least once. Probably a couple,
maybe American
a couple other times
television.
here and there. At least once. Yeah.
There's. It's not so much like a love triangle with these survivors as it is like a love dodecahedron. Everybody's fucking everybody in their downtime.
Yeah, it's a 20-sided die, and every side of the die has a 69 on it.
I'm glad that these writers are brave enough to explore polyamory in the early 2000s.
I was saying that the other day. I was like, if Kate was a polyamorous character, most of the drama between her and Jack and Sawyer and Juliet would not be a problem. It'd just be like all good. It's like, yeah, have a little polycoon before you get in a fuck pile and take care of it. Like, let's go.
Or they could just, pull an old Ana Lucia and kill her off.
Why would they do that? They're white.
Yeah.
So like they're like, hey, you came back.
It's the 1970s. That's weird. Whoa.
Sawyer, it's 1977. Hurley, what? Wow.
He's so good.
The card comes up. It's so good.
Oh my god.
But yeah, Jin speaks English now. It's been long enough that Jin
Hell yeah, he speaks perfect English.
Which is great.
Yeah, as somebody who's never seen it, it was really nice for them to at least give us the exposition of, what are you guys doing in these jumpsuits? Oh, we're with the Dharma Initiative now. Aren't they gone? Like, I was like, well, this is explaining a lot of things that are good for me.
Oh, it's so good for us too, because yeah, I mean that's when Adam, you and I were talking. I was like, this is not only a perfect episode for Ying, who has never seen any Lost, like many of our guests, but also for us to establish what the fuck is going on to be dropped in between like 3 seasons of this show.
Yeah, what it does actually, from at least me, is it renders any season 4 episode and the first half of season 5 that we're going to watch. It now in my head basically makes those flashbacks, even though they are flash forwards, because even the stuff that will happen in the flash forwards in season 4 will have chronologically happened before the present day part of this episode.
Right.
Yeah, they do do a little bit of mini explaining, because Sawyer and Jin have to explain to Kate, Jack, and Hurley, like, what's up. It's like, yeah,
and to the audience.
Yeah. And again, here's a little hypothetically, these characters have not seen each other in
3 years or something like that.
So yeah, like a lot of shit has happened. Fucking Sawyer and Jin joined the Dharma Initiative. Dharma Initiative is still alive. Jack shaved. Jack figured out how to wear a shirt with sleeves.
Jack got a haircut that doesn't make him look like a Lego man.
Sawyer comes out with a line that's like a little bit of like, oh, this seems like a plot point where he's like, son of a bitch, he said he'd do it. He said he'd bring you back. And I think he mentions John Locke by name, and then they're like, oh, he's no longer with us. And I'm like, what? This seems like a massive plot point that I've missed. Like, who's John Locke? All I know is he's JP's baby boy.
Never heard of him.
Kai watched this episode without me, like with Ying, and she literally just sends me a text that's like, I'm sorry for your loss, just out of nowhere. I'm like, what? She's like, I heard about Locke, and I'm just like, oh, if that's why I've been distant.
But yeah, he said, John Locke said he'd bring you back, and you're back. Where's Locke?
Doesn't matter.
We can talk about that later.
He's on the next flight.
Yeah. He was with us. I don't know why he's here. Maybe he's with everybody else.
Did he do like
business class?
Did he do the Interstellar thing where, like, he sacrifices himself to launch the spaceship out? Or
we cut to the next scene. This is Juliet and Miles. Again, one character we know, one character we'll get to know. Juliet and Ken Leung. Who I also love, who I've only seen in a couple things, but every time I see him, love seeing him.
Yeah, he seems to like be kind of in the know a little bit. Like,
I can't wait for you to find out what Miles' deal is, because Miles is amazing.
My question is, where the fuck is Desmond? I don't care about Miles.
Hold on. Is Miles the one guy that looks like he's the bad like bank branch manager in every movie?
Maybe.
All right, might have been a bad description, but that's all I could think of when I saw one character's face, and now I'm trying to remember if that's Miles or not.
No, he's more like an IT guy in every movie.
Okay.
Juliet and Miles are watching the camera. They use the cameras to figure some shit out.
Yeah, like Sawyer just ran off and is
and then
frantic.
So he comes rolling back in like real quick. He's a man of action. So Juliet and Sawyer Juliet goes to Sawyer. It's like, what the fuck? And he's like, hey, Kate, Jack, and earlier here, I'm gonna get them some 70s clothes. Yeah. So they don't stick out like a couple of sore thumbs, and we're just gonna mix them in with the like, it's a very lucky coincidence that we actually have a group of new recruits coming in today, and we'll just pepper them in with the new recruits. It'll be fine. No problems. Totally, it's such a good plan. And
no problems, just vibes.
On paper, very good plan, yes.
Yeah.
Cut over to the Flame. Jin, when he found out that Sun hypothetically should have been with them, he bailed like earlier. And he's like, my wife. He's like,
out of my way, nerd.
Panic, looking for his wife.
Yeah. He's looking for his wife. And Radzinski at the Flame. We're a little bit familiar with the Flame. It's some sort of communication station.
Yeah.
That had one time been blown up by our dear friend John Locke.
And had we heard the name Radzinski before?
We have.
Was he one of the writers of the show that you can announce?
No, I don't.
We have heard the name Radzinski before.
Oh wait, did Mikhail talk about? I don't remember. I know we talked about him.
We absolutely have talked about Radzinski. Radzinski. Do you want me to tell you?
Oh, wait. Was it the other guy that was in the hatch with what's-his-nuts?
Yeah, Kelvin Joe.
Yeah.
Radzinski was at one time Kelvin Joe's partner, and then Radzinski ate a shotgun.
Yeah.
And now he exists only as a bloodstain on the ceiling of the swamp.
Yeah. Okay. I knew it from somewhere.
Yeah, and so when Jin comes into the flame, he's designing a geodesic dome, which is part of this swan. So he's making the swan. He's doing like an architectural model of the swan.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jin's like, yeah, exactly. Shut up, nerd. Get out of my way.
Yeah, I'm looking for a plane.
He's like, there's no plane. Don't be an asshole. I would have known.
Quit touching my stuff. This is my equipment. Mine.
That's exactly it. Do not touch my instruments.
It's a sensitive material. You do not understand what you're doing with it.
That's every character that has a radio in every movie.
And Jin's like, look, there's one thing I understand. I can pick you up by the collar and fold you like a wet tissue. So radio the other stations and find out if a fucking plane has come by.
Precisely, yeah. And he's like, okay.
And do it 10 seconds ago before I put your head through this equipment.
And then he still has to do it with some attitude when he goes, I know none of you have seen a plane, but if you have,
yeah,
what a dick.
yeah.
We don't need the narrative here.
Yeah. And if you could do it without the sarcasm this time,
don't make me slap you with my ring hand. Speaking of ring, Sun is on the beach with a ring.
Yeah, come back to the not wreckage of a Jira 316. Sun's holding, I think it's Jin's ring. I think it's his ring.
Yeah.
But Frank rallies the survivors. Hey, bros, shit's fucked.
Everything will be fine.
If you've seen the pilot of Lost, we're going to do all the stuff they did. Let's get a signal fire going. Let's get the water together.
I started counting background extras, and there's way less to keep track of this time.
There's a prominently placed background extra who's kind of cute, just off of somebody's shoulder.
Uh-huh.
She was like dead center in frame. That actress, I believe, was Jorge Garcia's girlfriend at the time.
Oh, nice.
So she appears in like, she's a background in like several episodes. If that's the same woman, I might be getting them confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, Frank's like, check it out. And Caesar's was like, no, fuck all that. We're not doing that. I very quickly did a survey of the entire island. I located some buildings. I located some cages. They probably have a radio. Let's go do that shit.
There's a fucking Jamba Juice right over there.
We're not doing this fucking Call of the Wild, Lord of the Flies ass shit. We've seen it back in 2004. It was entertaining then. We're not doing a reboot. Fucking get your shit. We'll go over here.
I'm going to the TCBY on the other side of the island. There's fucking Froyo. Let's go. And while they're having this conversation, Ben's just like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
He goes, cages? Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, Ben knows where we are. If you've been playing at home, you know where we are. It's Hydra Island, baby. That's where the cages are. That's where they built that runway. This bespoke runway built by hand by Kate and Sawyer and hypothetically Ryan.
Yeah. And probably Carl at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. While he was just like roasted on DMT and just be like, I'm opening my third eye and something tells me we should make this 200 feet longer. Shut up, Carl.
God damn it, I love shovels. But yeah, Ben starts going off into the woods and Sun's like, get back here, you fucking wascally little bitch.
Well, so Kai was, over my shoulder watching while I was watching this, and Kai goes, why the fuck did every filmmaker in this era decide to do the handy cam thing and just run with, and I was like, this is the Bourne Identity effect, baby. You got Paul Greengrass making short jump cuts while he's running around town with a handy cam at his waist, everyone's gonna do it now.
Yeah, well, it's because setting up dolly track takes up too much fucking time.
Yeah, Sun catches up to him because he's probably got a bruise on his leg, I would imagine. He's not fast. He's
got some leg with this bruise.
And Sun's fast as fuck, boy.
Yeah.
But she catches up to him.
Around.
And she's like, what the fuck? And he's like, we're on the Hydra Island. Like, you know where we are. Like, Jin's likely not here. Jin's likely on the big island because we, like, even us, the inhabitants of this island, only ever came here when we needed to. Shit's over there. Right. You want to come? We can go. Like, I'm going. You can ride along.
Now, remind me again, was Jin on the plane with Sun or no?
No.
Okay.
We don't know how him and Sawyer and Juliet got to the past.
Okay, got it.
He was just already in the past.
Right.
And Miles. Don't forget about Miles and Daniel.
Who the fuck is Miles?
The bank teller, IT nerd, the other guy.
Don't care.
Ken Leung.
He's not Desmond.
He looks like he would respond to every request with, I'm sorry, it's just business.
Yeah. cut to Juliet talking to some lady who we
Amy.
assume just had a baby.
The part of the plan is they need to put their names on the sub-manifest. Amy is in charge of the sub-manifest, so Juliet comes over. Is like, give me the sub-manifest. I'll fill it out for you. Don't get up. You're obviously postpartum. Like, just chill in the hammock. Whatever.
That sounds great.
Yeah, honestly. 77 Dharma Initiative actually seems pretty chill. Hammocks, fucking luau's, jumpsuit,
Armory full of guns,
fucking cool cars,
submarines.
chicks, tropical fucking weather. I can see why there were so many people there.
It was really weird to go from like jungle to like, oh yeah, like look at this like nice little slice of, you know, Stepford Wife suburbia where they're gonna ask you about how many kids you're gonna have. Like, oh,
Just Americana, baby.
Yep.
when are you gonna have more babies?
When's Jim gonna crank one India? Gross, Amy. Don't ask that. Well, I mean, whatever. It's fine.
Juliet just be like, I don't know. We've been trying. He's been busting fat nuts all month. I don't know.
That's the thing that drives me. We don't have to get into it. I'm sure we have in the past. But like, all that is we're trying for a baby is euphemism for, he's going raw all night, every night. And one of these times it's going to work. And the thing is, we're not going to know when it works. So we're just going to keep going until after one's taken root.
Go for the entire first like trimester while you're at it, just in case.
Oh my God. Anyways.
she's 4 months deep. It's like, I'm going to get one in there.
Listen, Bridget, do you see the way I'm fucking walking? I don't own a horse, all right? We're trying.
You gotta see the baby. You gotta see the baby. Juliet wants to hold the baby. She picks up the baby and she's like, what are you gonna name the baby? And she's like, we were thinking Ethan. And Juliet almost gags.
Dude, that's one of two Chance to Kill Baby Hitler things in this show.
Yeah, I wrote here, she checks in on an infant unknowable horror named Ethan.
And like the way that she said, like, oh, we're thinking about naming him Ethan, and the camera just pans up. I was like, this feels like a plot point.
Yeah.
I was waiting for her to be like, and just like drop it.
Well, I was trying to remember, does Ethan end up killing any of the survivors? He tries to kill Charlie, but doesn't. He tries to kill...
he kills a handful of background folk as like a warning.
Scott or Steve, whichever one.
Yeah, he kills a fair few, a couple of folk before. Yeah. Now, dude's a literal murderer.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those like, well...
No, I'm sorry, I dropped your baby.
Oh my God, sorry, yeah. But and it's weird too because until he, kind of went rogue and started whacking all those folks, like him and Juliet were
super tight.
They were like professional, like peers and whatever. Because they're both doctors. Anyway, you know all that, Ying, right? I don't have to repeat it to you.
Yeah.
You just get that? Come on, dude. I need you to fucking pay attention.
I don't even know if Julia's her real name. Like half of these people are going by pseudonyms.
That's
man.
true.
Yeah,
that actually is her real name.
Because Amy says, "Are you and Jim gonna have a baby?" Okay, so Sawyer's name is James, but like nobody on the show calls him Jim.
So no one calls him James or LaFleur. They call him Sawyer.
Right. And based on the scene earlier, like Sawyer and Juliet are the thing, I think, here. They live together.
They've been assigned as partners by the Dharma Initiative.
And because they've been
Adam and I started a podcast together.
Yeah. And because they've been assigned partners together by the Dharma Initiative, Jim gets to bust fat nuts. We cut back to the
like the beach area where everyone was kind of meeting up.
Yeah, and then Kate goes to Jack and goes, did you know we would be back here like 30 years ago? Like, did you know it was going to be 30 years ago? And Jack just kind of looks like, why the fuck are you always asking me for fucking answers?
Yeah, I knew, and I decided not to tell you, Kate.
Would you have come if I would have said that? Probably not, right? So I kept that shit in my back pocket. No, he hypothetically didn't know.
No. How would he fucking know?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know if Locke knew or not. Like, there's a whole series of events that actually leads to them being able to get back to the island. And I don't know if at any point anyone knew that it was going to say. I don't know if anybody knew amongst the several people they have to talk to get to pull it off, whatever.
Right.
Sawyer explains what he's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Sub's coming in. If I don't bring you in like now-ish, you're going to have to camp in the jungle for 6 months. So let's go now.
Yeah, this is very serendipitous.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought was really interesting here was like Jack actually asks Kate Kate what she thinks of Sawyer's plan. Instead of like just in the past, he would have been like, all right, let's do it. And then he would have just kind of like grabbed Kate by the scruff of her neck and like dragged her along. Like he's like, what do you think? So like maybe he's developing a little bit as a person. Maybe.
Well, we'll get into that.
I said, I put a question mark on the growth.
Maybe he's just feeling a little jet lagged from being unstuck in time.
I mean, technically, Jack was never unstuck in time. Jack just time traveled. He's not one of the unstuck in time folks. We'll talk about it later.
All right.
Yeah, they're all in. They roll out. Go back to the flame. Jin and Radzinski. The looking glass checks in. They're the last one to check in. Like, yeah, the underwater station didn't detect a plane either. So. This is literally, it's like, I mean, it's a time travel gag movie because they're doing all these things in this thing. They're referencing all these things that are from the future that we already all know about.
Yeah.
Well, all of us, hypothetically. Ying's just like staring at me like,
Yeah, I got nothing, man. I'm listening. I'm here for the ride. Thanks for all the exposition. It's much needed.
The show is whack.
Whacktastic.
But yeah, then the alarm goes off.
Yeah, oh shit, we got a 14J. The hostel's tripping the alarm. We gotta check it out. Jin's like...
Jin grabs the Mini 14 and just runs straight out the fucking door. He's like, it's my wife!
Exactly.
I need a rifle. You don't understand. I gotta pin her down.
Do you have any idea how goddamn dangerous my wife is?
She's fucking lethal. If she's armed, we are done.
I gotta put one in her leg just to slow her down.
And it won't do that much.
Like, Jin, careful, man. You only got one mag.
That's all everybody on this island ever carries is one magazine.
Yeah, he busts out there. Radzinski's a little bit slow to the trigger, but he also joins Jin. Jin's a fucking mile away by the time Radzinski even gets out the door.
I'm surprised Radzinski could even run a mile.
fucking nerd.
Probably likes books.
Go outside, nerd. Don't need your useless chime-ins.
Go.
They're going through the jungle. Jin gets there because he left first, and it's Saeed. Saeed somehow got separated from Jack, Hurley, and Kate, and is by himself. He's in handcuffs. Hey. And Jin's like, holy shit. And they sort of had this moment of, it's so good to see you. And they are about to hug it out. And then Radzinski rolls in and fucking ruins the moment. And so Jin's got to be like, put your fucking hands up. Don't move.
Yeah. Oh, man, it sure sucks to be in fucking handcuffs, doesn't it? Jin used to be in handcuffs, and it was kind of Saeed's fault.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they get like 2 seconds to just be like, what the fuck? What are you doing here?
Yeah, like they exchange a look where Saeed's like, all right, I just gotta fucking play along.
Yeah.
There were several instances in this episode where I was waiting for people to wink, and nobody fucking winked ever. It pissed me off.
Right.
Like, wink.
Wink goes a long way, baby.
Wink says a ton. Wink says so much.
Yeah. Cut to the van. Jack says something dumb. I didn't write it down. I just wrote down, that's dumb to say, Jack, but I didn't write down what it was in response to.
was it? So I have a line written down during that scene that says, "You know, the Dharma Initiative gets wiped out, right?" Is that the line?
Oh, well, yeah.
That's what Hurley's saying. Like, yeah, and Hurley's doing like the time. He's like, well, if we've gone back in time, are you gonna do something to save all these people's lives?
Yeah, I've seen the mass grave.
Yeah, we walked past it a couple different times. You remember? You were there. Yeah, Jack says a couple of dumb things. Honestly, the drip on him and Kate, actually pretty solid.
Yeah, I was like, damn, Matthew Fox, you've been doing push-ups? Let's go.
Yeah, it's because he did that Speed Racer movie.
They arrive at the Dharma what do you call it, the village?
Yeah, the barracks is what it's called.
Barracks.
Yeah, I don't think the Dharma Initiative say that to the new recruits.
Right.
Because barracks has sort of like a military
sort of vibe.
When'd you go through Indoc, boot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at these fucking legs. Haven't even been to airborne school yet.
Yeah, so they probably just call it the town or the village or whatever. But yeah, they get to intake to this welcome home party or whatever.
Seems really nice.
One thing they say during the van trip is that I think Jack asked something about Daniel Faraday.
Yeah.
And Sawyer's like, he's also no longer with us.
Oh, that's the guy that we just met at the end of...
Yeah, Jeremy Davies.
Well, that's that.
But yeah, they chill and then, they start mingling or whatever. But then, so Miles rolls up and he's like, "Hey, LaFleur, we caught a hostel."
Yeah,
and then he recognizes Jack.
Spots them all.
Yeah, he's like, I was waiting for his nose to start bleeding, like some sort of like
We got a hostel, and also, what the fuck?
Yeah. What are they doing here?
And Sawyer literally grabs him by the scruff and is like, just
He's like, shut
play it cool, you fucking cop.
Just chill. Just chill.
Also, I'm sorry, we have to address it every time someone calls him LaFleur. Adam, what goes through my mind?
Cram it in your cram hole, LaFleur.
There you go. Got
So
it once.
So good.
But yeah, Gin radios to Sawyer like, hey, we got a fucking...
The thing about the LaFleur thing.
Oh.
He's like the only person who took a pseudonym when all this Dharma shit happened. Like, for whatever reason, and we'll cover it when it actually happens, but I think he just like, he had to put on a disguise real quick, so he just threw on a jumpsuit, and it said LaFleur on it, and so now he's LaFleur, but everybody else got to keep their real names.
Right. Which is actually kind of funny because he gave everyone else nicknames.
Right.
And now
so then he got a nickname, yeah.
So what is his real name then?
James Ford.
He went by the pseudonym Sawyer when we first met him, so it was like James quote Sawyer Ford. So he's still going technically by the same first name because Jim LaFleur, James Ford. But yeah, he's got like 19 names. He's like the ODB, but lamer.
This makes it really easy for a new watcher to just step right in. It's a low barrier to entry this show is.
Yeah. And then you just straight up didn't get a bunch of other characters' names in this
Oh,
episode.
no, yeah.
Sawyer got 9 names, and like Juliet, I don't know if her name.
I don't know if they ever say her name.
They never mentioned Miles' name. The whole time I was like, weedy bank manager looking dude in my notes.
They don't. I just realized that. I wrote it down because I know his name. Caesar, I know his name. Like, I wrote these people's names down, but yeah, they don't fucking say these names. Because again,
my name's Adam. I've seen the show before.
Well, and again, this very much feels like a pilot, but it is the 9th episode of this season, so it is like almost
season.
So it is almost dead center in this season itself. So a bunch of shit has already happened, and a bunch of shit still has to happen in this season alone. And yeah, this is the 5th year of this show.
That's awesome. Jin radio's back, like, hey, we got the hostel. Also, it's Saeed.
Well, I like how he whispers it into the radio as if he's not just speaking on an open net anyway, and anybody who's got like another radio could be like, who the fuck is Saeed?
Some guy at the Pearl's like, what the fuck?
Who's the fuck is Saeed? That's fucking crazy. Cut back to 2007.
Son and Ben are walking around.
Yeah, they get caught up to by Frank because again they're traveling very slowly because Ben is slow.
Injured.
Yeah, hurt. So Frank is able to catch up with them, and he's like, you trust him?
He looks like a villain.
The guy like talks like a fucking robot. Like he's definitely a skinwalker.
Right.
But yeah, so Frank and Ben obviously have some history and some bad blood. He's like, you can't trust him, and Son's like, I have to. But Frank says an interesting thing here. The ship that I came on to this island was filled with commandos, and they were trying to get him.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what the fuck? When did this all happen?
Also, ship you flew, you crash landed a plane. What ship you came on?
Right. So you've been to the island and left?
Oh, he went to the Jamba Juice. No, TCBY. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Son's like, no, I don't trust him. I was just kidding. Wangs him with an oar.
Dude, I love Son so much.
Well, it was that was like I wrote down in my notes, you sly dog, you caught me monologuing. Like Ben was explaining his whole plan, and the second he finishes the last word of his master plan of I'm gonna steal one of these outriggers, and then I'm gonna sail across the other island, and there's a dock over there. She's like, all right, got it. Bam!
Yeah, she does it with the muscle memory of somebody who used to like have to kill livestock for a living. She's just like, oh no, I know exactly the distance I gotta be. I know right where to hit him. I know how to get his body into the fucking thing. It's so seamless. Goddamn, Son is so good.
Just straight up Ichiro Suzuki right to the back of the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you trusted him. I lied.
I lied.
Come back to 77. Jack and Kate are like milling about waiting to get in Took.
It pisses me out they're watching the orientation video, but people are walking between them and the screen. I'm like, fucking walk around them. They're watching the video.
Right. And what are you people doing? Sit down. Like, all these people are also new recruits. Watch the video.
Right.
Well, not all of them, but like most of them.
Most of them.
But yeah, so like Jack gets his name called. Hey, come on over here. My name is Pierre Chang. I am a dude who definitely has both of my arms, and you've never seen me before.
It's it's gonna be the hot tub time machine. I'm just gonna be waiting for him to lose his fucking arm the whole time.
Every time you make the hot tub time machine reference, I always think of this guy because that's 100% his fucking deal. He does not have an arm in the future, and here we've met him, and he's got both arms.
We gotta start taking bets as to how and when he's gonna lose it.
God.
I'm saying combine accident.
Polar bear.
Ooh, that's actually a really good guess. That's probably the most sensible guess.
So that's how you know it's not going to happen, right?
Adam? Well, you've seen the show.
I was going to make a joke about what happens in the season 5 finale, but I'm not going to spoil it. All right. Because I don't think that's where it happens either. There's something in there that would be funny if that was what caused him to lose his arm.
Well, you can make the joke in like 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Jack, he can't find his name right away. He's trying to figure it out. He's like, oh, shit was weird. We had a baby, blah, blah, blah. Here's your jumpsuit. You're a janitor. Enjoy.
Get to work, man.
Jack's face whenever he was told that he was going to be a janitor was the most like, this is beneath me. Like, do you know who my father is kind of face? I was like, well, this is really telling of the primary audience of this show that is an expected reaction from that guy.
Nah, he's going to have a lot of time to drink on the job. He's looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's a spinal surgeon in his previous life.
Oh, and now he's going to be doing some back-breaking work. Huh? Hey. Comedy's tough. Kate talks to that one guy who's in everything, and I can't remember his real life name.
Yeah, that dude. Phil. Phil's his name here on the show. Phil's like real snotty about it. You're not on the list. How'd you get here? He gets all... And then Juliet rolls in. It's like, Phil, calm down. I've got the real list. You fucking go back to doing whatever you're doing. Work, man. Like, fuck off.
Here's the updated list, you fucking knob.
Yeah, it's fine. Go away. And he changes gear. He's like, oh, all right, cool. My bad.
All right, cool.
Sorry. He fucks off. And then Juliet and fucking Kate. Woo, boy. Hi, I'm Juliet. Hi, I'm Kate. It's nice to meet you. Shake, shake.
Is there bad blood between them?
Stab, stab.
We both know what Sawyer's balls taste like.
All right.
Not great. Yeah, it's tense. It's tense.
Cut back to Jin and Sawyer have a little conversation about like what to do with Saeed. Like Sawyer pulls up to the
to the flame, yeah.
Like in like a closet or something like that,
Yeah, Jin's just like, Radzinski's real freaked out and he won't let me be alone with Saeed, so I can't do anything here.
Yeah, and Radzinski's like, let's just fucking shoot him.
Yeah.
He's in violation of the treaty or whatever. And
yeah, they started it. He's in violation of the treaty. Let's just whack this guy. Is that the terms of the truce, you fucking nerd? Like, oh, if you break the truce, you get whacked?
Yeah, also, like, this is, like, a lot for somebody coming in, because I'm like, what treaty? Like, is there another cult on this island? Like, what? Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about cult.
Well,
there's definitely another... There's a group. There's another group. They are referred to a couple times in this episode as the Hostiles.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is just, like fucking the Darmanish. You're rolling in and colonizing. It's like you're invading their home and they're the hostile ones. Shut the front door. But yeah, there's this other group. And they have JP and I don't know any shit about any truce or treaty.
Not really.
We're lost here too. But apparently, Saeed, who is not a hostile, is in violation of this treaty. And so, Radzinski's like, we just shoot him, not tell anybody, it'll be fine. We'll bury him in the jungle, it's fine. It makes it sound like they've done it before.
But Sawyer's like, absolutely not. We're taking him to lock up. So let's take him to lock up.
Yeah. Well, and then Sawyer does that thing where he's like, I'm going to give you like an interrogation where I'm very calmly asking you yes or no questions that are explaining what the situation is.
Yeah. And Saeed's like,
yes, I am hostile.
Am a hostile.
Yes, I am. You're saying that saying that will save my life. And Saeed says exactly what I just said. We don't think of ourselves as hostile, but yes, I'm a member of that group.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Radzinski's like, I'm going to snitch to Horace. You can't do this. Floor is the head of security. He can kind of do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's like, I don't give a fuck. Talk to him. I don't give a shit.
Shut up, nerd. Go back to your model. Like, tell Horace. Like, give a fuck.
Go build your Gundams in the corner, nerd.
Oh, dude, I love Gundams, though.
Horace is gonna know what my balls taste like too in a minute. Relax. I run this fucking island.
Radzinski like reminds me of like if people watching this show had any sort of self-awareness, I'm sure that there'd be a lot of watchers who would be like, oh wait, is this making fun of me? Like it's like the very like overreactionary prepper kind of mentality where it's like, I got my bunker in the jungle with all my guns and my radar, nobody can touch my shit.
Stop looking at me the way you're looking at me, Ying.
But that Radzinski said that. He goes, he saw my model. He's a spy. Dork. Nobody gives a fuck about your model. Like,
What are you even building, fucking Radzinski? A fucking Chevy Prowler? Knock it off.
It's the USS Arizona. Shut up. Go away.
Cut back to 2007.
Yep.
Son and what's our pilot's name? Frank
Lapidus.
They're walking on the dock and they maybe hear a smoke monster.
It sort of does sound like that a little bit, but yeah, we recognize this dock. It's the sub dock.
Yeah, former sub dock.
Yeah, it's got a scorch mark on it.
Right, that pier should not be there.
But yeah, they hear some cranking and some clicking and whatever, and so they're like, it's probably just an animal. Yeah, all the animals on this island eat people. Why would that make me feel better?
Yeah, right. It sounded like a big fucking animal.
It's probably just an animal. Yeah, bison are animals. Grizzly bears are animals. Fuckhead. They walk in to the barracks, to the village. It's kind of overgrown. Seems like it's been abandoned for...
Like, every sign is hanging on only by one screw.
Yeah.
Right. And they're all swinging like in unison.
Yeah, just these dead ass trees. It's like scraggly brush trees have grown up and then died, so they look all haunted house. Fucking, it's like, why aren't the trees still alive? Place is fucked, and it looks like it's been abandoned for a while. So yeah, nobody would be here.
There's one light, when you're on the island and you're lost and it's late at night. Where can you always go to feel welcome? Come on down to Christian's Cocktail Cabin.
Put on a little Jimmy Buffett, pour you a Mai Tai. We're going to get this all figured out.
Is Christian a character that's been introduced before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorta.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, sort of. We've seen real Christian Shepherd several times in people's flashbacks. He is
Jack's dead dad.
Jack's father.
I see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we know Christian. But then, yeah, we've seen him on the island a few times post his
Kinda
death.
walking around.
And that bothers nobody. And it's also just so uninteresting to people that whenever they see him, they don't mention it. Even Jack.
Yeah, no one really mentions it. Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, hey, y'all, welcome back.
Yeah.
Come on over.
He leads them into a creepy, dilapidated building. Son's like, where the fuck is my husband? And he pulls a dusty old picture off the wall from 77.
Well, he goes through all the years first.
Yeah, he goes through all the years.
76, 78.
Yeah, and shows it to Son, and there's all of our missing
New
friends.
recruits. Yep, the new recruits.
He does the old wizened janitor. He's like, oh, I think it's back here in my memory somewhere.
Yeah.
There's your friends.
Yep, shows him this dusty photo from 1977. It's got Hurley and Jack and Kate in it. Welcome, new recruits. And he says, you've got a bit of a journey ahead of you.
Yeah, this is my mind palace.
Cut back to the moment that photograph was taken.
Yeah.
Sawyer and Jin roll up with Saeed, take him they have a holding cell in the basement of one of these houses.
Yeah.
Well, they parade him in front of the entirety of the barracks first.
Which is not what you're supposed to do with detainee operations, but whatever.
And the only people who happen to see this happen are our main characters.
All the new recruits.
Well, the background characters and the new recruits are all turned the opposite direction while this is happening.
They're interested in the burgers and the music.
But fuck yeah.
And also seeing a brown man in handcuffs doesn't bother them at all, because this is the 70s. But yeah, Sawyer still can't explain to Saeed what's happening because he's being watched by everybody. Phil is suspicious and continues to be throughout ever since the whole Kate wasn't on the list thing. But yeah, like some time goes by later that night, Jack heads over to where Jim lives.
To Sawyer. Oh, you said Jim. Sorry.
Yeah, not Jin. Jim, James, Sawyer. LaFleur, Ford.
Because he asks Phil, I think he goes, hey, where's James LaFleur? And Phil is like, well, listen, I'll speak to my manager, but you shouldn't call him James LaFleur.
He hates James. It's like, yeah, it's because he's been going by Sawyer for the past fucking 20 years. Nerd. Get away from me, also nerd. Get away from me, second nerd. gets to the door, pounds on it. Hey, I really hope I don't see my ex-girlfriend here.
Okay,
Ooh,
sorry. So,
this is awkward.
and like she does the thing where she's like, "You and Sawyer have a lot to talk about. I'm just gonna go into the fucking kitchen and like,
right, you can be involved,
make sandwiches or something." And I'm like, "Dude, what happened to badass Juliet?" Like,
being in the Dharma Initiative just chills you out, man. Everybody relax it. Like being in the Dharma, it's cool. It's easy. Life is uncomplicated. It's all good. She's probably gonna start a book club.
yeah. Jack and Sawyer have a little back and forth.
Oh man, this is the most unbelievable part of the episode. Jack turns down an alcoholic beverage.
But yeah, there's a really good little monologue back and forth, but it's mostly Sawyer monologuing here about like, listen, Jack's like, why are you just fucking sitting here reading a book? He's like, I'm thinking. Winston Churchill said that he read a book every day and it helped him think. I got to think about this. Because we're not just going to be goddamn impulsive like you were when you were in charge because people fucking died. Right. I got to sit here and think about this, and tomorrow I'm going to figure out how to save our good buddy Saeed. So shut the fuck up.
Thinking is what allowed me to save the three of you today, and thinking is going to be what allows me to save Saeed tomorrow. Yeah, thinking versus reacting.
Jack just takes it, and I kind of appreciate that. He just shuts the fuck up about it.
And I honestly think that there's a part of Jack that will be happy to not have to make decisions for a while. Like he will be happy to take.
A lot of people died under Jack's watch.
Like at this point now, yeah, Jack's carrying a lot of shit, like not just from his previous life, but then the island shit. Yeah, I honestly think he's prepared to take orders for a little while. I think he does find it a bit of a relief. He goes home. They're standing on the porch. Kate's on her porch, and they look at each other, and it's all
wave and wow. Thanks for being in the episode, Kate.
Yeah, I also wrote, like, was there tension between those two? Because the fact that they looked so longingly at each other from each other's porches, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Is there something going on there?
They were together for a little while.
So everybody's been with everybody in the show is what I'm gathering.
You got it.
All right.
Well, I mean, the hot people, the people who are not hot get treated like comic relief, and they don't get to have romantic relationships or get any pussy. Harley was gonna get some pussy, and then they killed her.
Still mad about it. Not my boy Harley.
Yeah.
Remind me again, who is he gonna hook up with?
Libby Smith, played ably by Cynthia Watros, who played Aaron on Titus for 3 seasons.
There you go. I just don't want you to feel left out, Adam.
I appreciate that. Always looking out for me.
Yeah.
Kate gives Sawyer this look like, can I come over? And Sawyer's like, I have a boyfriend.
Sorry, I got a fucking raw dog, Juliet.
I don't know if you know this, but we're trying for a baby. And if you don't know, you're about to find out because you're going to hear me trying for a baby.
Last little scene here.
Yeah, cut to the basement, the holding cell. Saeed's behind bars, getting a little rest. This kid wanders in. He's like, hey, I'm going to bring him a sandwich. The dude watching monitors like, go ahead. Brings him over sandwiches. This third separate nerd in glasses.
Yeah, like, who's letting kids into jail? Like, detentions? Like, it wouldn't normally be like, hey, I brought him a sandwich, put it on the guard's desk. They would take it in. Like, who's letting him directly in?
Right. But, yeah, it's Young Bruise.
Yeah.
It's his rap name, Young Bruise.
Pre-bruise.
Future hot air balloon enthusiast.
CBS's new hit show, Young Ben.
I would rather have that show 1,000 times out of 100.
Handsome sandwich. I didn't put any mustard on it. I don't know if I can get some mustard if you want. What's your name? My name's Saeed. What's your name? Benjamin Linus.
Let me just stick my arm through this where you could easily rip my young joints apart.
Well, like, he does the thing where, like, he's in the shadows and then he only steps out from the shadows when he says his name. My name? Step out of the shadow. Ben.
How did fucking Walt have to get written out of this show because he hit puberty, but this Ben actor kid looks exactly the same from 4 seasons ago?
That's a good question. I don't know. But yeah, so Saeed's like, it's just so terribly nice to meet you, Ben. You live here? You live nearby? Perfect. Because my friend James LaFleur is going to get me out of this cage tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you and I are gonna hang out. But yeah, that was my last note. Is Saeed gonna kill baby Ben?
I'm here for it.
Lost. That's it. Namaste, bros.
Namaste, baby. Did we like it? Was it good? That's what we're trying to answer here. We're just looking at this 40 some odd minutes of television. Ying, give us your thoughts. Did you like it? Was it good?
If this is the best case scenario of what this show is in terms of newcomer coming in, probably not.
Sure.
As far as an independent piece of media with no context, it did a lot better at framing what I'm supposed to know, a lot better than I'm assuming some other shows would have. So, it kept me entertained. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was good and easy to follow between all the pseudonyms and some of the weirder, wild caricatures of Americana and personalities of preppers and white men who wanted so hard to be persecuted at the time, while simultaneously persecuting. It was, I don't know if it was good in that sense.
Sure.
But, yeah, it was entertaining.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Hell yeah.
JP?
Yeah, I liked it. I think this sets up lots of fun adventures for people to go on. Lots of mystery that's not like too annoying. Some risks, some heartfelt, reunion stuff. I was like, man, there was nothing in this episode. I suppose the slowest part for me was sort of like Ben and Sun just kind of walking around the jungle, but like it still had a good payoff because Sun beat the fuck out of Ben. So like, man, if that's all I got to complain about this is a great ass episode. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Adam.
I love this episode. Season 5 is probably my favorite season. There's just so much cool shit that happens throughout it, and this episode, the coolest thing about it is the coming back to 77, the reuniting of at least a handful of the Oceanic 5 with those that got left behind. And this really gets the ball rolling toward the end of season 5, the second half of season 5, which is also awesome. But yeah, I had a blast. I was remembering some things and completely unable to remember some other things, like the Caesar and Alana thing. Like I don't necessarily remember where that leads at all. Brahm was there. I don't think he had any lines, but like those people, it was cool to see all these faces that I remember from the second half of the show and be like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally. I had a blast. It was a lot of fun.
I think as a piece of media, the entertainment value was very good at drawing me in.
Yeah,
I would be interested to watch more based off of this episode.
There you go.
It honestly feels like a pilot and a pretty decent one. Like, because you still have a ton of questions after the end of it, and it absolutely made me want to watch the next week's episode. So
yeah.
All right, well then let's do some MVPs. Lost MVP. Who's your favorite character or actor or concept of the show? Just in this 40 minutes of television, who did you enjoy watching the most? Ying, do you have a lost MVP?
Jin, who supposedly only recently learned to speak English, speaks so fluently you would almost swear that he's Daniel Day Kim.
If you look closely, he's actually Daniel Day Kim.
Man, his hair.
They do set up the first 3 seasons of the show. He basically does not speak any English, and it takes him to like the end of season 3 to like kind of start forming his first sentences. So now that was like 180 some odd days. So then this is at least 2 years later. So,
having grown up around a community of Asian Americans who learned English well into their adulthoods, I'd be very impressed with somebody who could become that fluent in 180 days, or sorry, in what, 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, I would be very impressed. And even despite that, his reactions toward, I gotta find my fucking wife. Very, very convincing.
That's my wife. Pulls a full fucking Harrison Ford.
JP, what about you?
Man, I don't know. I liked what a lot of folks were doing in this one, but I think I'm going to give it to Sawyer. Man, we've seen so much growth out of him, like leading up to the end of season 3, and then just now his like, nah, man, thinkers before reaction. Like, I dig it. All the work he's trying to put in to keep everybody safe. Like, he's doing things very intelligently. I love that he's fucking raw dog and Juliet. Like, everything. Just Sawyer's just fucking batting 1,000 right now.
Yeah.
Love that he's not talking to Kate.
Yeah. She's a bad influence.
Fucking pushing nerds around. Let's go. Adam?
I gotta echo. Like, I was trying to think of anybody else who I think really did as good of a job. I think, and Jin and Sawyer are both up top, but I think I have to give it to Sawyer because he is being the thinking man. Like, I love Jin is trying to find Sun because I love that, but it does make him very emotional, which makes him. That's why he's not the leader. That's why LaFleur is on top.
He's making mistakes.
So,
Rookie
I mean,
moves.
a 1-2 finish, though, for Jin and Sawyer. But yeah, I'm going to give it to Sawyer. Especially giving Jack cracking out life lessons for Jack. Love that, too. So the other side of the coin, the yin and the yang of Lost on Lost, the good and the bad. Who out here was just fucking up King Suck of Shit Mountain, the Lost forever. Least favorite character of the episode. No memories, no context. Ying, this should be easy for you. Who is your least favorite character of the episode?
Well, for me, like, part of me wants to say Radzinski because, like, he's so easy. He's so easy.
Maybe.
But another part of me is like, yo, Caesar, like, you know, somebody's trying to stay calm about this and you're about to freak out over a potential Jamba Juice sighting, man. Come on.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
So
No
I don't know
doubt.
which one. I think probably Radzinski just because that's an easy target.
Sure. Redzinski.
That's perfect. Adam, Lost Forever.
Yeah, it's low hanging fruit, but somebody's got to pick it. I'm going with the collective nerds of this episode: Redzinski, Phil, and Young Ben. The three of them. I want to clonk their heads together like coconuts and tell them to go outside and get some sun. Touch grass, nerds. Even as like a fellow nerd, like if you want to mask with the jocks, otherwise you're gonna get swirlied. Like. Relax. Go outside, nerds. The collective nerds of the Dharma Initiative.
Yeah.
Specifically, Redzinski. Just do your thing. You've gotten the job of indoor kid. Let the outdoor kid do their thing. Let the indoor kid do your. You play with the Swan model. Do the clipboard.
No, it's a Chevy
Don't-
Prowler.
Whatever. Shut up, nerds. Do your nerd shit. Nerd shit's got to get done. So do it.
Radzinski's whole reaction of like, oh, this is my moment to shine. I get to be a hero and just fucking off some dude.
Yeah, I get to just snuff out of human
like it's
life.
my turn to be the hero. Like it's like the whole like.
I was waiting for him when he went out the door with the rifle. I was waiting for him to trip and the gun to fucking ND and just like blow out the tire of the van or something. Like,
Perfect.
JP, what do you say?
It's
Lost Forever.
It's Radzinski, of course. Of course. Fuck that nerd. I do want to take this time to plug a friend of the show, Brad's merch. If you head over to fucknerds.clothing, there's a really good tank top that you can buy with somebody punching a nerd through a book. And it says fuck nerds. And I feel like that's just the vibe of this episode. Shut up, nerd.
Yep. Shut up, nerd. The jocks are back and we're doing shit. King Jock has returned to us after 30 years. and he's gonna get a swirly from fucking Emperor Jock, and they're gonna start running shit.
There you go. Exactly.
Redzinski, you fucking dork. Oh, I think that's our first triple. That's our first triple crown in a while. Oh no,
Yeah.
Like 6 episodes ago, Jack took all 3. So yeah, Redzinski, you suck.
Ying,
Yes.
thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
Is there anything you want to plug?
If you guys want to see any of my photography or
I was gonna say your cosplay stuff, your photography
yeah,
stuff.
a lot of that has just not been coming through. I haven't posted content in months, but
Yeah, well, there's still a backlog though people can enjoy.
oh yeah. If you guys are interested in digging around and seeing what me and the girlfriend do on our weekends off at anime conventions, like a couple of nerds, right? You can go to at Yingalicious.
No, you're artists.
Oh right, a few of our artistic endeavors.
Yes.
Right. At Yingalicious on Instagram. It's my personal one that I do. I've made a conscious decision to not split business and personal stuff.
Hell yeah.
So
Sure,
you guys get
yeah.
to see my personal posts right alongside my photography, right
Fuck yeah.
alongside my coding and my cosplay.
Excellent.
It'll be great.
Fuck yeah.
Very cool. Yep, awesome.
Awesome. Adam, what are we watching next time?
That's a great question, JP. Next time we're going to be watching season 6, episode 15. I think it's the third to last episode of the show.
Oh no.
It's a little ditty in one of my favorite episodes of the show called Across the Sea. Our centric characters are Jacob and the Man in Black.
That makes sense.
So
Yeah.
So
Okay.
come on by for that, because I gotta tell you, one of us is gonna have a great time.
Fuck you.
One of us is gonna be mad for 3 hours because he's gonna have to spend 45 minutes watching it and then an hour and a half talking about it.
I wonder who that'll be. Well, hey, everyone out there, thank you for tuning into this episode of Lost on Lost.
Oh yes, thank you so much. I am Adam.
I'm JP.
Do you have any idea what's going on in the show?
Nope.
Me neither.
Lost on Lost is produced and edited by me and JP.
We wish to acknowledge that we live, work, and produce our show on occupied land.
Burbank, California is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Tongva, Chumash, Kizh, and Fernandino Tataviam peoples.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Peoria, Potawatomi, Miama, and Ho-Chunk peoples.
And Lost was produced in Hawaii on the lands of the Kanaka Maoli.
Visit native-land.ca to learn more about the land you live and work on.
You can engage with us on IG, Facebook, and Twitter at Lost on Lost 1.
You can also email us at wearelostonlost@gmail.com or support us with dollar monies at coffee.com/wearelostonlost.
Thanks to Lostpedia and its community of contributors, Danny Schmitz, random.org, and as always, you the listeners for tuning in.
We're hosted at Podbean. You can hear us there or wherever you get your podcasts, except MySpace. We're not on MySpace.
Yet.